Welcome to OGGM's new segment. This is where we take questions.
It's been 3 weeks now. Is it still new?
Welcome to OGGM. Welcome to OGGM segment here where we discuss questions given by you guys and we try our best to kind of tease out as much as we possibly can and discuss it as length and try to give you a well-rounded response. So the question we have this week is, how do you spread the gospel, or how do you preach to your close friends and family who aren't saved? I think you should go first on this one. No pressure.
You go first.
Okay, let me think. How do you preach the gospel to your close friends?
I'm assuming the questioner probably has friends who aren't
saved.
Saved, yeah.
Yeah. I think one thing I've learned to do with my friends is, I think actually there's two things. I feel like I never want to say pray, because I feel that's such a given. But I think it's not pray for them to be saved, but it's pray for opportunities to speak to them about the gospel. Just throughout my day, I just ask for God just to grant me an opportunity. No matter, it could be talking about football, but I just find a way to kind of slide a bit of Jesus in there somehow. And secondly, another way I kind of think is the more effective way to do it is the word says in Matthew 5:16, I believe it says, "Let your light shine, and by your good works they shall glorify God." Is to live in a way that they shall see your work, see how you're living, and through that you evangelize to them. It's not so much about making a conscious effort to, okay, this day I'm going to talk about Matthew 16 with my colleague or my friend. It's actually just living a lifestyle which glorifies God, and through that they can see that and they will respect you. Like, I have so many friends who say that they respect me because of my standards and my faith. It's not because I preach them about the gospel for 2 hours and then it's just because I live in a way which points to God, and they can see that and they can understand that. So it's not so much I need to schedule time to have a deep chat with one of my friends from school.
School. That's good. I agree with you absolutely. I think I don't want to be that guy, but I think the question's wrong. The questioner's wrong. He's wrong. No, we can't save anybody. I know there is this notion that if I try really hard, someone will be saved, and it smuggles in this flesh-driven idea that we're somehow part, of God's enterprise of salvation, in that we've got something to do with it. The truth is, you do need to do stuff. So in Matthew 28, Mark 15, there's clear instructions given for us to go out. But it's God that does the saving. The faith to believe, the Bible says, is a gift. Salvation, we learn in Revelation, belongs to our King. The Bible says it's the Spirit that draws a man to Him. Like, it's God's enterprise. We are partnering with Him in saving souls. Now that means we should never take on the responsibility of someone's unbelief. So we shouldn't say, it's me, something's wrong with me. Now again, man, something might be, there's things you can do to change, but taking on the burden, which I used to have, this kind of like soul saving burden of, you have a list of people, they must all be saved this month. It's like, no. Some people it's 2 years, some people it's 4 months. I've spoken to people literally for the first time and they're giving their life right then. And there's people that I've been speaking to for 5-6 years. They're not even watching this video. Who like are still, they don't really get it. Their heart is still kind of hard to it. So that's all God's job. All I can do is pray and be a faithful steward of the gospel. That means to faithfully present the gospel as clearly as I can. Now, in terms of friends that are unbelievers, I tend to have a lot because I work in an industry where people aren't typically saved, or aren't vocal about their Christianity anyways, because there's just not really space for it. Like, no one talks about that, so it's a bit random. And one thing I've learned very quickly is close proximity salvation is very different to evangelizing on the street. I think I've said this before. On the street, you don't know who I am. If I'm speaking at a conference, you have no idea who I am. I can come and be like, change, and walk away. You're like, that guy was kind of interested. Done. Whereas you know me. I see you all the time. Like, there's a different relationship we have. So I can't just say stuff, because you actually live, well, you don't live with me, but you actually, like, we do life together, I'll put it that way. So you can check me and be like, but you don't do that, Mike. And it's like, what I meant was, you can see me living, so close proximity is always different. And to that end, Christians, when you're engaged with close proximity, kind of living, and you're trying to help someone see God, your focus, the bulk of your focus has to be on your actions. Because actions do, in this scenario, speak louder than words. your people or your friends seeing you live out the gospel and everything it evokes in your life, it's so much more powerful than you speaking to them. Why? Because you're going to speak to them all the time, and your words will reduce in value the more you speak to someone. But when they see you live out that Christian thing behind the curtains, you're actually just being a Christian, a faithful steward. You're growing in the Spirit. You're exemplifying fruit of the Spirit. You're actually trying to, just actually live this thing out on a much more practical level. It's so powerful. I want to say something that's controversial, but I think it's true. And I'm open to being corrected about it. But I think, one dangerous place Christians can be is when Christians are like, basically, they are less bad versions of the world. I think that's dangerous. And that comes from this notion that being a cool and relevant Christian is the best way to save souls. It comes from this mindset again that saving souls is about my mind and me being very smart and being very, I'll play some gospel when they're walking, then I'll make a joke about Cardi B, and then we can talk about Cardi. It's like, okay, the intention's good. However, the world doesn't need more crap copies of itself. We were speaking about this yesterday. What Christians need to not be afraid to do is be very clear about who you are to other people. It's so important that you are very clear to people. The world needs more ignorance. We know that throughout the Old Testament is littered with descriptions of the Christian way, the Christian life as a foreigner, a pilgrim, a wisp of smoke, an alien, so on and so forth. Job said that it was an alien. So largely speaking, we're meant to be different. We aren't improved versions of ourselves before we were saved. We're new. Like we're new creations. And to that end, this middle ground of being cool, savvy, but also saved, you laugh at the same jokes they laugh at, but you're also one of them, it's so dangerous because it confuses people. What people need is this: when they have that God moment where God nudges their heart and they're in their room and they're going, oh my God, I feel something, who can I call? What would be beautiful there if in light it's so clear? Mike, Toye. No, I don't really know. Like Toya is basically the same as me, right? Like it's one of us, there's no different. That would be dangerous because then you're actually an obstacle to their salvation. Because you laugh with them, they don't know it's wrong. You don't say, I don't do that. You're kind of like, I'm complicit. And that kind of middle ground, that kind of, not really hot, not really cold, kind of middle, that's the most dangerous place to be, I think. You must not be afraid to offend people, as we said kind of in earlier episodes. Like drawing that line and saying, I don't do this, this is what I do, this is who I am. That one makes people respect you, but two, it does more to make room for godly guilt in their life. If not, no one ever thinks what they're doing is wrong, and forever you're just in that, that kind of circle of, you kind of design a Christianity that's not offensive. It doesn't really, doesn't really love holiness. It's not really pure. It's kind of just there, and that's the difficulty I find.
Because I think one thing we do as Christians is we leave trash in our hearts. And what I mean by this is, if your bin bag in your room is full, you don't leave it there. The first thing you do is you get it out. But as Christians, it's been a tough week.
Depends how tough the week is.
Sometimes as Christians, there are certain trash in our life that we know we shouldn't keep there. That we know there are certain jokes people make that we know are wrong. But instead of taking the trash out, in aims of trying to be cool, we just laugh it off. We join in. We try to be one of them. But as you said, we're meant to be foreigners. But then the deeper question that comes with this is, the Bible says, "Be all things to all men."
Yeah.
Right. So how do you draw the line between being cool, which they could relate to, and also being a foreigner? Where is the line really drawn?
Okay, well, let's not talk about the context of that scripture, because I don't know if that's even relevant too tough. I agree with you. I don't think be all things to all men means be cool. I don't think it does. And obviously we might have different meanings of what cool is. I think I'm pretty cool.
Yeah, he's cool.
I think I'm cool.
Like your granddad's cool. Yeah.
Whoa, good one. Didn't see that coming. Saw that coming a mile away, mate. Come on. No. I think there's a sense like you can be relevant in that you're aware of what's going on, and you know there's a lot of neutral spaces one can occupy. But what's more interesting is Christians will use that to justify being in the craziest positions ever. And that's what I don't really get. Because if you're pursuing holiness, it should be like, oh, why do I have to, you know, be aware of this? But it's like, oh yeah, I don't mind. I don't mind watching that show if it's going to make me reach out to them. So there's a heart issue there, isn't there? But to answer your question more kind of straightforward, I think in the world we live in today, it's really hard not to be aware of what's going on. Like social media makes it so difficult for you not to be aware of the world. And I think just living in this world today, I feel like there's enough opportunities for you to be aware without compromising who you are. Like, I know friends who don't open newspapers, right? They don't open newspapers, they don't read the news. Pardon me. However, even being on Snapchat, if you swipe right, you can find out a bit about what's happening in the world. Like it's so pervasive information these days. The notion that you would, you know, you have to go into the dark recesses of a certain website just to fit in. It's just, I don't buy that. I think there's a way these days you can know what's going on in the world, be aware generally of what's happening in the world without having to really compromise on your beliefs. And I use that at work. Like, I don't, like, if you want to go out for like fun, okay, let's go to a bar. I'm not going to a club. But you know, a bar is a neutral space. If we're in a place where some people are drinking, some people are drinking water, always having a chat, neutral. The club is a bit different because it's not that neutral. You know, there's ways around it. Okay, you guys want to go and get smashed? Do it. I have no problem. Let's meet on Sunday. Let's meet after. We'll have a chat. We'll grab a meal. There's ways around it. Meals are neutral. Like there's ways around it. If more Christians spent their life going, oh, how do I find ways around it, rather than, I guess I've got to just be like them, then I think they might have more success. You know, because other people who aren't even talking about God or faith tend to find ways to do it. Tend to find ways to fit in, for want of a better term, and not compromise who they are. And I think Christians, if we're more driven to do that, then we might actually find solutions to our problems.
So I think you've kind of alluded to it before, but then how do you tell you work? So how do you tell your colleagues in a work setting about the gospel, or do you wait till you're outside of that context?
Well, one, it depends on what's allowed at your workspace, because people have lost their job in the past for sharing the gospel. So one has to be very careful about kind of the laws in place. If you apply for a job and you sign, I'm going to obey the law, then you disobey the law. A bit awkward. Gotta watch that. But again, in places where it's not conducive for sharing the faith, one thing they can't stop you from doing is living like a Christian. They may stop you from speaking because you're in a certain house, or you're in a certain job setting, and perhaps you shouldn't apply for those kind of jobs. But let's say you find yourself in that, where they might be able to mute you to a certain degree, they cannot stop you from living like a loud Christian, which you'll find isn't one that shouts, but one that sacrifices, that loves, that exhibits patience, self-control, like wisdom, like that. They can't stop that. And for me, as we said before, that speaks so much more volumes than anything you can say over lunch anyways. So I feel like there's ways around that. I find, I mean, it's difficult, don't get me wrong, definitely difficult. I find myself in compromising situations. I'm like, oof, what do I do? Do I say this? Do I say that? Like, I've been there. But like I said, whilst you might not be able to say some things, no one can stop you from living. Like, living the gospel out loud. I mean, loud that everyone's like, who's that guy? Like, he's so quiet, but he just doesn't. He's a man of no offense. You can't really offend him. You say stuff, he just smiles. You know, he's got this joy thing that he bangs on about. He's just really helpful. He's good at the job. You know, Christians tend to be sometimes with the worst of the job. We're like, respect me. It's like, why don't you just become good at your job? You know, do you know what I mean? Like, they're just the whole package, but somehow they're still thriving. It's like, it can be done. God honors those kind of things.
Cool. So I think that's a good place for us to end. Thanks again, Mike.
Why is it always me
answering. What do you mean?
No, I like when I finish, you're always like, all right, it's enough. Right, so next.
Talks forever. If I don't stop him, he'll keep on talking. So
thank you. Well, thank you for that. That's a great endorsement of me. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. For bookings and inquiries.
I'm currently on
another thing. So yeah, thanks for answering our questions. Thank you guys again for listening, and I hope to see you guys next week.